This conference will now be recorded.
I got 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We just have one amendment to add to the packet, which will be 8G, Fifth Street Storm Sewer Repair.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Review with the minutes from the October 19th regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 19th meeting minutes.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Accounts payable, Joan.
Okay, just had a couple. 79427 is at Aslickson's Blacktop. That's for their trail repair. That was $78,205.75. And then check number 79459 was WHKS and Co. That's engineering for $55,826.64. And 79462 CMS, and that's the building inspection fees. And that was $43,263.63. And everything else looked pretty.
For 3/4, right, Kim? The building inspector?
Yeah, I took a
2
look
quarters.
at that one. And I think everything else was pretty normal for the month. And I would make the motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $211,167.53.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Any further questions for Joan or Kim on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Joan. We'll open the public comment portion. Individuals may address the city council about any item of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit the remarks to 2 minutes. Public comment. Mr. Ness.
Troy Nass was here at a previous meeting wondering about a water meter failure, and I believe since that meeting, the Public Works portion has been updated or addressed to the members. So I'm just looking for the decision that was made on the outstanding water bill.
So it was, check valve coming off from the back of the pressure or the front of the pressure tank in Troy's house, and ultimately it broke the meter. So what it was doing was actually taking, and since the check valve wasn't working, it would take the water and bring it back. So the water usage was going through until the meter finally failed. As staff, we talked about it, and we figured we'd take the average for Troy on his water bill, and I think that's what we need to have you guys approve, is using the average for the water bill for the last, was it two periods? Two periods of water.
There was 3 billing cycles. The first 2 billing cycles had 80,000 gallons on there. The last billing cycle, since the meter was replaced, is back to 4,000 gallons, which has been the average over the last 24 years I've lived there. And that check has been dropped off with City Hall for the $204.12 for 12,000 gallons over the last 3 months. So looking for approval to look at the broken meter and get that cost avoidance for the other, whatever,
Broken meter. It's not
600.
not the meter. It's not the meter.
To clarify, it was a check valve on a pressure tank that is in Troy's house. The water really didn't get used. It just kept going through the meter and leaking back out, and through the meter and leaking back out. And we think that reverse of that flow wrecked the meter over time.
The check valve is part of the homeowners. That has nothing to do with us.
So we installed a brand new meter. Maybe it's slowing down the leaking through the meter, which is probably going to wreck the meter at some point. So that's why we need you to get your check valve replaced soon, so we don't wreck another meter. But yeah, and therein lies the proposal to do an average of Troy's billing, or what his billing normally would be for that time period, and just charge for that, because truly the water wasn't used. It just went in and then back out, and then it came back in and leaked back out. So.
And we talked about this on Monday at our work session, and I think we all agreed to go back 12 months before it went high, figure out his average, divide it by 12, and that's what it'll be. I think that's what we'll do. So I think do we need a vote and a motion on that, or is that just?
I think just direction.
Just direction.
Okay, I guess that's, as council, I think that's what we'll do, is just the 12 months pre the high bill. We'll figure out the average, and that's what it'll be.
Perfect.
I know we talked about it on Monday, so.
Yep. And Paulson, the local plumber, has been out, has gone through the booster pump. The check valve is on order. The booster tank is shut off until that time, so there will be no pressure pushing against the new valve, or the new meter. So that is not going to be an issue.
Perfect. And I mean, so I assume between Kim and Miranda, they'll figure that out
He's
for you.
already good.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you
Troy.
for your time.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? I will close the public comment portion, and we will jump down to 7A, budget discussion. Kim?
I think actually we can just kind of leave it for I don't have made any changes, just the things that you're going to discuss tonight. And then also, if you look at the water and sewer budget. So nothing's really changed other than what we talked about at the work session. I believe Brian has reached out to Ellers to discuss the sewer rates we were talking about and making some adjustments to the sewer revenue numbers that will be coming. I just found that out today. So those adjustments will be made and presented to you at the next meeting. But everything that is present is some updated numbers from some of the personnel issues we had discussed.
Perfect. Thanks, Kim. We will jump down to new business 8A, police agreement. We got the memorandum of understanding up on the board. I will just read a couple things that I had wrote up going into this. During the October 19th council meeting, Sergeant Pasquale and I read statements that explained the timeline of the police discussions and clarified misunderstandings. Those statements are included in the minutes from the October 19th meeting. On behalf of the Personnel Committee, which is Bob Prigi and I, am happy to present two memorandums of understanding to the council for consideration. They are both in your packet. One MOU for the sergeant position and one for the police officer position. In September, we received word that two of our police staff had applied for and offered positions with the Goodhue County Sheriff Department. This left us with two openings on our staff, one sergeant, one police officer opening. Police union representatives and the city personnel committee met on October 18th. During that meeting, the union presented a proposal that would move police officers from grade 9 to grade 11 in our schedule, and moving the sergeant position from grade 11 to grade 12. They also proposed a $1 per hour night shift differential and 2 hours of comp time for every 12-hour shift when an officer is functioning as a training officer. Also, the proposal from the union is to have one sergeant as opposed to two sergeants. The union representative is confident the department can function efficiently with one sergeant. I have a slide up on the screen showing the current 2023 pay scale. Do you have that up? Okay. So that's the slide is showing the current 2023 pay scale with the police officers at current grade 9 and the sergeant at grade 11. Under the union proposal, the police officer position will move to grade 11 and the sergeant to grade 12. You can see the increases resulting from the pay grade changes. If the MOUs are approved by council, we will post for a police officer position immediately. The council approved posting for the position at the September 7th city council meeting pending need.
All right, and I want to note that on the MOUs in the packet, there's a date that is incorrect on there. Number 1 says effective January 1st, 2024. That should be November 12th, 2023. We agreed to make it effective at the beginning of the next pay period after this meeting, if it's approved. Questions from the council? Any comments?
Any questions? I know we've had plenty of lengthy conversations on this, so.
I make a motion to approve, do you have to do them separately?
Yeah, let's do them separately.
The memorandum of understanding for the sergeant officer salary effective 11/12/23.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0.
I'll make another motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the police officer salary beginning 11/12/23.
Second.
Any further discussions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Before we move to the next thing, first of all, I want to thank Bob Prigge on the Personnel Committee and Brian Groom, our City Administrator, and Kim for all the work they've done in this tough decision, gathering the facts. It's been tough, but I think we're at where we need to be, but I just wanted to thank them. I also want to thank Tony Pasquale, the sergeant, the union rep, and the rest of the police staff for coming up with a proposal that benefits the police officers and the taxpayers as well. We are thrilled that we are going to continue having our local police force. Thanks everybody for the work. Now we will jump to 8B, Southeast Service Cooperative Membership. Steve.
Oh, no. Where is it?
Help.
They're on, all the slides are in all of your packets, so.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do it without it.
All right, well, I appreciate the time this evening. My name is Steve Salee. I'm the Executive Director at the Southeast Service Cooperative in Rochester, Minnesota. And we are just a really quick brief history of the service co-ops. There's 9 service co-ops in the state of Minnesota. They were put in place legislatively back in 1976. And the primary purpose of having a service co-op is to support local school districts, local government, cities and counties, and then some nonprofits. We do some work with them as well. We're a little bit unique because we are a public entity, but we do not receive any local, state, or federal funding, so we have to be self-sufficient when it comes to revenue. So that makes us a little bit unique in that sense. Prior to this role, I've been doing this for about 6 years now. Actually, Brian was on the SSC board when I got hired. He was on there. I first met Brian in Tampa, Florida at a national conference when I was superintendent in Southeast Minnesota. He was on the board. We were both invited to go to a national conference. So that's where I actually met Brian at first. So prior to this, I was a superintendent for 10 years. I was at Leroy Ostrander Southland for 6. I was shared between the 2 districts. Then I was up in northern Minnesota for 4 years. I moved into this position about 6 years ago, and it's just been a fantastic move for me. First thing I want to cover is I did for each one of the council members, I did put this brochure on your table in front of you. This is a new service that we're providing. We're partnering with South Central Service Co-op out of Mankato. One of the things that I've heard since I've started is we really have not done a lot of work with cities and counties. And I've got some city county people on my board right now that keep encouraging us to try to do more for cities and counties. And we're really trying to make an effort to do that. So we partnered with South Central. Mike Humpel is the person that we work with over there. He's a retired city administrator, so he's got a really solid background. My background is education, so it's a little bit easier for me to be working with schools. I know every single superintendent in the region, work with all of them. So between the two, I think we've got a pretty good mix right now. We're trying to find more and more ways to support cities and counties in our region. So some of the things that we do at the co-op, and I'm going to go through this very quickly. And if you look at the slides, you'll notice a lot of this stuff is education, and I did not plan to go through that stuff tonight. But just a few things that I wanted to highlight on that are in the PowerPoint that you can take a look at. So one of the big things that we do is professional development. We can, really what we do is we listen to our members, find out what the needs are, and we can tailor any professional development for whatever the needs are. We've been doing a lot of that. We do a lot of facilities management. We work health and safety through IEA. We partner with ICS for facility planning, any projects and things like that. We also have a cooperative purchasing program. There's a booklet in your folder there that will talk a little bit about that. The nice thing about the cooperative purchasing program, that's statewide. All of the contracts that are in there, everything that's in there is pre-bid for you. So if you purchase something off of cooperative purchasing, even if it's a vehicle, you don't have to go through the RFP process. Everything's done for you ahead of time. And we work to try to get you the best price on anything in there. There's a website called Express, and there's a slide in the packet on that as well. It's a lot like just going on Amazon, and you can do a search, you can try to find the best prices, and it makes it really easy for cities, counties, school districts to do that. One of the big areas of our business is the health insurance. It's a big area. We have a lot of contracts in Southeast Minnesota. It's also one of our most frustrating areas because as most of you probably know, the health insurance costs are just skyrocketing right now. So it's really, really hard to provide decent rates. And it's a very competitive market. But we do have a partnership with Medica now that we've been in for a few years. We're really excited about that. The best part about the Medica piece is they are the provider for all Mayo Clinic employees. So 5 years ago, we used to try to encourage people not to go to Mayo Clinic as much because it was so expensive on the insurance plans. And now we've got a deal where we actually encourage our cheapest plan is people, their primary care can be at Mayo. But that's a big area. We're unique in the sense that we can tailor plans to whatever your needs are. So we have a lot of flexibility on how we set the plans up. We can adjust deductibles, co-pays, all those types of things. And we also have a very active wellness. So any school district, city, county that's in the health insurance pool, we provide funds for them to use for wellness. And that's been a really popular area. We're doing a lot of work right now with mental health. And we're seeing this in, I would say the primary things cities and counties are the police forces and school districts. We're seeing the need for students, even staff members, things like that. But that's, as everybody knows, is a really big issue right now. So we've got a lot of supports in place. We have a lady that we hired that's a former school social worker. Her name is Cheryl Wendt, and she's doing a lot of work for the co-op and for all of our members. We also have a new marketing department. We hired a marketing person to try to start to promote SSC a little bit more, but we're also selling that service out to cities, counties, and school districts, which has really taken off quickly The advantage to that as a member is it's much more reasonable to do marketing through us than hiring a private firm. We're just able to be a little bit more cost effective. And if you've ever used a marketing firm, you know that the prices can be very high. So we have a lot of options there. In the PowerPoint that talks a lot about the local government services, a lot of those things are covered in this pamphlet here. I'm not going to read all this stuff to you. But the number of services that we can provide is unlimited right now. And then the last thing I was really going to talk about, if you've never been to the co-op in Rochester, I would encourage you to stop in and take a tour. But we have a place called the Wood Lake Meeting Center that we rent out space there. That was one of our, we were turning a nice profit in that area. We rent that out to not only our members, but to private industries as well. But that's a state-of-the-art facility with top-of-the-line technology. So people rent out spaces for meetings. We host things all the time. We're starting this year now, we're going to have 3 to 4 different sessions where we provide free professional development to city, county administrators, human resource people. We bring them in, we buy them lunch, and we provide some relevant professional development. But that's all taking place at the Wood Lake Meeting Center as well. So before COVID, we were doing fantastic with the meeting center. COVID shut it all down, just like everything else. And now we're starting to try to build that back up. All the virtual meetings have definitely taken a toll, but it's starting to get back where I think people are preferring to be more face-to-face and things like that. So the reason I'm here tonight is Mike Humpel and I came out and met with Brian a few weeks ago. I told Brian that if the city of Zumbrota would be interested in becoming a member of the Southeast Service Cooperative, we run on the fiscal year from July 1 to June 30th. But I told Brian if he wants to become a member again, or the city does, we will not charge you the membership fee, which I think is normally like $300. Try it out until June 30th. If you find that you're using it for different services and things like that, we can invoice you for the following year, but between now and June 30th, we won't charge you anything. We're just trying to get more people involved and provide service, and that's what we do, is just we listen to our members, provide services on whatever the needs are. So that's it in a nutshell is what the service co-op is. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Steve?
I'll jump in there. As Steve said, I was on the board at SAC for 6 years, I think, as a school board member. So I have a good understanding of the services that they offer. Back then it was mostly school. It was, there were city county representatives. But when Steve and Mark came out and talked about their desire to get more and more into cities and counties and providing services for them, they've been reaching out, like he said, for administrator meetings down there and trainings, things like that. So I was very interested in bringing this to you. I think it's a good value. Well, for this year, really. But even moving forward, it's not a lot of money to belong, and there's all kinds of opportunities to take advantage of cooperative purchasing, education, and then this whole array of new advisory services geared towards cities and counties. So, just asking for approval of the resolution to become a member of the Southeast Services Cooperative. Sounds like we won't pay till the next contract.
Yeah, if you don't use it, don't renew it. Like I said, we're never sales pitchy. I mean, we're not trying to sell anything. We're just here to provide service. So.
I don't have a question now, but I'm sure I'll have many later.
Yeah, my business card's in there. Shoot me an email, give me a call. I'm happy to talk anytime.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-20.
Any further discussions? All in favor? Oh, they gotta do a roll call, sorry. Sarah?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin? Aye. And I passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Steve.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Let's jump down to 8C, water sewer budget discussions. Kimberly.
All right, well, you have it in your packet and with the water and sewer budget. Brian did discuss we discussed at the work session about the possibility of raising sewer rates. And Brian, you want to kind of fill them in on what Eller said as far as bond relief?
Yes. Yeah, so in this year's water budget, we had a built-in increase, but we didn't see anything for a sewer. increase. And that's one of those things that we've been looking at as we move into the sanitary district. There's going to be some bonding that we'll have to do for our part of that. We'll also have to maintain our local infrastructure as well. In talking with Ellers on that, there was actually a large increase in there because we weren't sure what DFA was going to do, and we were trying to soften the blow of losing a big industrial user. DFA did not go anywhere, so really that increase can be much smaller. I think it was at 24.5%. So we're going to continue to discuss a modest increase just to keep up, and also it'll pay dividends for fee payers down the road when we do bond. We can lower the bonding and pass that along to the fee payers, all of us who pay the water fee. So we'll continue to discuss that, and we'll bring continue to consult with Ellers on an appropriate modest increase to be able to keep some reserves there for those purposes. So more to come on that. And this is not a budget that we approve like the general fund budget. So this one, we've got some time to work on it.
We'll approve it at the last meeting in December, and actually you approve the rates in January. So it's kind of, you have to know where you're going in December to approve the rates in January.
Yep. So
But we'll have an impact study too, where we'll show you what the bills will increase and how that looks for everyone.
Perfect. Any more questions for Kim? Thanks, Kim. 8E, change order number 7. Scotty.
Thank you, Mayor. So I got two items here. So in front of you, we have change order number 7 for the Jefferson Drive project. This is just cleaning up some miscellaneous items that were added to the project. I'll just run through them here quickly. The pavement on Highway 58, some additional pavement was milled for a pavement joint, just to match in a little bit better on the highway. We added a concrete head wall to a new subdrain that we installed at 19th Street due to high water level. There's a couple other pipe drains that we connected into structures. One hydrant had a riser section of a foot put on there, and then a couple of the manholes had different castings put on there. So recommending the approval of the change order in the amount of $9,178.93. I can answer any questions you have on that one.
Almost done.
Getting close.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 7.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. We'll jump back to 8D, Jefferson pay request number 8. Scott.
All righty, we have pay request number 8 in front of you, and just like the previous 7, when the contractor completes one of the 150 bid items on there, we add that to the column that it is complete. I can answer any questions on there, but it's pretty straightforward, recommending the approval of pay request number 8 in the amount of $785,603.19. And like the mayor said, almost there.
Almost there.
A few more warm days to get some sun done.
Perfect. I just need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve the pay request for $785,603.19. Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Scott. Let's jump down to 8F, replace springs for shop overhead doors. Mike.
Yeah, we have some, we've been replacing the springs on the overhead doors at the shop. They're original. We just get more out. We'd like to replace the class 5 here before winter here. And then a quote from Ruben Scheffler for $3,885.
That comes out of your budget over there for the street? Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve Ruben's bid.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Mike. We'll jump down to 8G, Fifth Street storm sewer repair. Mike?
Within your packet, I had a quote from Schumacher's for the repair on that storm sewer. That total number is a budget number of 16,000. It will be a time and material job because they don't exactly know what they're gonna get into. But basically what it is, through the pictures, you can see that they're gonna replace the concrete flume and add some, higher walls on it so it doesn't spill all over into the yards. We're getting, holes in there from the water running through. It does not include the pipe, it's just the outside structure, the inlet structure, and that room as you see it in the pictures.
Yeah, and I believe, did you come out there, Bob, with me
No,
and
I-
Brian? I know Mike and I
You
and
and I and
Brian
Mike are out there, yep.
and met with Schumacher's and WHKS and looked at that, so it definitely needed to be repaired, so.
But how will we make the motion? Put a limit on it, not to exceed an amount, or just say whatever it is, or?
I think they're gonna hit it pretty close to this somewhere.
Yeah, I think the limit would be 25,000, Scott.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could put a limit of 25,000 because of bidding and all that good stuff.
Okay. I'll make a motion to go ahead with the street storm sewer repair on Fifth Street, not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Mike. Let's jump to reports. Brian?
Yeah, speaking of the completion of Jefferson Drive, we have set a ribbon cutting ceremony for November 8th at 3 p.m. Out in front of the fire hall. So we'll gather out there. Former Mayor Dracon will be there to say a few words. Tina Hostegger, who were instrumental in securing the state bonding dollars, they'll be there. I will be inviting all of you at some point too. Todd reminded me that I forgot to invite the current mayor.
Yeah, didn't invite me.
Go into that and go, I don't know anything
Yeah.
about it.
I knew about it, but I never got the invite. Brad's like, I'll
Todd heard
see you
about
there.
it,
I'm like,
yeah.
what?
So that invite is coming. That's it.
Perfect. That was quick.
Man, a few words.
Matt? Yeah. Okay. Chief? James? Curtis?
We have a new coffee shop in town. It's where the old Java Junction is. It's called Nature's Grind. They have a grand opening on Monday this week. Excited about fishing coffee out there. Everybody to go.
Haven't been out there yet.
Thanks, Kurt. Kim? Mike?
We took the 98 street sweeper up to the cities. It broke down. The cost to repair it was $24,000. So tomorrow Larry's gonna go up to, where was that at again, remember? Newport, and he's gonna look at an 86 or 88 model for $4,000. The cost to have it done for us is around $1,800 a week, so I think the one he was looking at was 4,000, was it?
4,800, something like that, yeah.
But we haven't even hardly got at the streets for sweeping yet, so we're gonna have to do something. And more than likely, they're gonna look at it, more than likely we'll end up buying it and then have Schumacher's haul it back to Zumbrota.
Yeah, we spent, I think, 13,000 on our sweeper beginning of the year or over the winter. And now we're looking at 24,000. So we're saying, well, you know what? We looked at renting one. That was going to be about $8,000 a week. We figure we've got 2 weeks of work with it, so 16,000. And Larry kept looking and found this one for 4,800 or something in there, 4,700 I think is what it was. That looks really good. He talked to the people and they said, yeah, it runs, drives great. You come up and drive it around. And so we thought, okay, let's, if we're gonna have to spend 16,000 to pick everything up this fall, let's go that way and use that one. And who knows, maybe it'll be good for a little while while we plan for the future budget considerations. We had a dump truck in 2024 budget, and then the sweeper was in 2025. So that may switch depending on how well this one runs. But we'll continue to look at options of good used ones, or, it appears that renting is not going to be a good option, and hiring it out is not going to be a good option long-term. But we'll continue to study that. But in the meantime, I gave the go-ahead to go pick that one up if it looks good, and we'll get all those leaves picked up before it snows again, I hope. Out of the gutters.
The other thing is the old one sitting up at McQueen. We're just gonna see if we should have probably got it for approval, but it's only worth probably 1,100, and now with it meeting that amount of work, it's gonna be worse. But instead of haul that thing back here, I think we're gonna end up selling it back to McQueen just for parts, so.
And hopefully that'll cover what they've got into it to just check it out and tell us what it was gonna cost. But
Perfect. Anything else, Mike? I have nothing. Sarah? Bob?
The one thing I had is I had a few citizens talk to me about some of the new signage that was put out on the Jefferson, combination of Jefferson and I think some of the walkways in the walking path. Whether it was confusion, not necessary, a lot of extra signs that they were just questioning.
you want to throw it to Scott?
Yeah, I'll throw it to Scott, and I know I've had a few too. I know it's already been addressed with Public Works, and I know WCAS was aware of it, so.
Yeah, I guess as far as that goes,
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to address the couple comments I saw on Facebook about the yield sign and stop sign at Mill Street and Jefferson. So that was not installed per the plan, so that was not the intention of that location. But working with city staff, we're just gonna put a stop sign instead of a yield sign at that particular intersection to clear up confusion. And then the rest of the signs are all based on the MUTCD, the manual and uniform traffic control devices. But if we want to change anything on there, we're working with city staff on direction.
Yeah, we're talking about maybe moving some of them from between the road and the trail to the other side of the trail. We're also working on some rewording for the no motorized vehicles. You say something like no motorized vehicles on the trail. So right now we've got a couple that are right next to the road, and
Oh, people are confused.
Weird.
there's comments out on Facebook on that. So, but, yep.
Perfect. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Bob. Anything else? Joan?
Nothing for me?
Kevin?
Not a thing?
Meeting adjourned.
Or was it? Yeah, the smaller ones are for,
That was my take on it.
what did they, and the people were saying that they thought it was for driving?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my wife sent me a.
you don't have to lie.
I don't know if I talked to you. I think you talked to the trail system, not a sidewalk.
Oh, because I'm like, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like if I'm walking, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to sit here. and
You're right.
I mean,
But if I'm on my bike, I need to yield and then go across. Yeah, when they were small, like, I'm assuming that's for,
I don't know, my front of
it
the
seems somewhat self-explanatory.
Full road stop sign on there.
Yeah.
Bring me a
This
drink.
is the one my wife sent me.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes, you know,
Yes, that's on the list to rotate that one together.
So.
Oh,
you
yeah.
say- What was the term you say that this is all
Yeah.
based on?
Have fun. Don't ask me to say memorandum.
Or Ziva. Or Ziva.
When I figured that, I was just kind of shocked on my property there all of a sudden.